the extraterrestrial aspect that you talked about with the Elohim. Can we talk a little bit more about the Elohim, who they are, and what were they doing in all of human history? Are they the ones who made us?
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. What is Raelism, and how did you get involved?
Very good question, Jonathan. As you know, I am born in the Jewish, traditional Jewish family, Sephardic, and I always had questions since my childhood, but never got the right answers regarding the word Elohim, regarding plurals, regarding some texts from the Tanakh, which is the original Hebrew Bible, and other scripts. And we always go to synagogue, always praying, but without knowing what we were saying or what we were praying. It was like Latin for us because we didn't speak Hebrew at that time, or I didn't speak Hebrew at that time. Then, I grew up my life, got married according to Jewish tradition, did all the celebrations. I had my first son, got circumcised, and so on and so on and so on. One day, in 1987, I read the book. And this is the book that changed my life and answered all the questions I had.
Intelligent Design.
Intelligent Design. When I read this book, I had questions because as a traditional Jew, I wanted to know more about it. So I took the Tanakh, which is the original Hebrew Bible. I didn't speak Hebrew at that time, so I took a dictionary. I took this book, which was given with the messages, and start searching word by word during 2 weeks. I stopped my business, I stopped everything, and start searching. And after 2 weeks of searching Hebrew texts, Tanakh, scholarships, books, and all that, I came to the conclusion that this message is the demystification of the original Hebrew Bible. This Elohim that most people, or most Jews, or all the Jews, I should say, pray without knowing who they are. They're not a God or a single God. They're a more advanced civilization that came to Earth over 25,000 years ago and created us to their image and likeness, as described in Bereshit, in Genesis. They are the ones who sent all prophets from all religions, among the most important ones, Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, and over 40 that they have sent to Israel. It reached a time after the atomic bomb on Hiroshima that they feel the urge to send one last messenger. And on December 13, 1973, they telepathically induced a man, a French journalist, whose name was Claude Vorion, to go to a certain place that is called the Puy de la Sola in France, close to Clermont-Ferrand. He walked there while going through his office. He reached there, an old volcano, asking himself what I'm doing here, because it was cold. He used to go there with his family during summertime for picnic. And then it was December 13, he had work to do at his office. And all of a sudden, he saw something coming down from the skies. At the beginning, he thought it was an helicopter. Then there was no noise, 2 beams, one above, one below. And then it went down slowly, and the ladder opened. Then he saw two legs and he was a little bit afraid. And as a journalist, he said, maybe too bad I don't have a camera. But I don't going to move. Maybe they think I'm a tree or something and they will leave. And then he saw the size of a child, about 1 meter 20, 1 meter 30, coming toward himself without any weapon, a very harmonious person, full of love, shiny face. And he told him, your name is Claude Vorillon, because Claude Vorillon asked him, do you speak French? And the extraterrestrial replied, I speak all the languages in the world. And then Claude Vorillon replied again, do you come here often? He told him, the extraterrestrial replied, I came here many times, and today I come to meet with you, Claude Vorillon. You're married, you have 2 children, and we have telepathically induced you to come here today because we have a message for you. 2 weeks ago, we telepathically induced you to buy a Bible from La Pléiade, which is the only Bible in French that the name Elohim was not mistranslated by God. And then he gave him the following message. Over 25,000 years ago, we came to planet Earth and created all life scientifically with genetic manipulations of DNA. We started from planktons, animals, fish, birds, and so on, to finally create man to our image after our likeness. At the beginning, these people, they thought we were gods. But it's time now that you have the technology, you have the science, that you stop, the people should stop believing and start understanding. And start understanding we are not gods, we are your creators, and we have been, and we want to come back on earth. Your name, we're going to change it to Rael, which is the root of the word Israel, because you're our last prophet, our last messenger. And your aim is to spread this message worldwide and to build an embassy, which is the 3rd temple the Jewish people are willing to build to welcome the Elohim. This is the message they gave to him. And this message is on this book because he had a first encounter, and then on October 7, 1975, they telepathically induced him again, and they took him to the planet.
Yeah, so thank you so much for introducing all of that. I want to hone in a little bit on the extraterrestrial aspect that you talked about with the Elohim. Can we talk a little bit more about the Elohim, who they are, and what were they doing in all of human history? Are they the ones who made us?
Well, as I say, Elohim is a plural word and not a single God. And the original Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, never mentioned it was a God, a single God, because I have been giving lectures mostly in different countries, international wide, and I have all citations and books and more citations from Hebrew scripts, from the Bible, from many other, from the Zohar, from the Kabbalah, that confirm without the slight doubt the Elohim are an extraterrestrial civilization and not a single God. As I mentioned, they are the ones that contacted Rael and given the message to humanity, which can be found in this book, Intelligent Design, that people can download for free on our website, rael.org. The Elohim came to Earth, as I explained, over 25,000 years ago, and they created all forms of life. Our primitive ancestors, they couldn't understand what was a spaceship, where these people were coming from, and they thought they were gods or a god. and then they change it from gods to God to make a monotheist religion and fit with all the others.
Can I ask why they created us? Did they have a purpose, or what were
Of
they trying to
course.
accomplish?
Very good question, Jonathan. Why they created us? When they reach a certain level of science and technology, they started creating life on their own planet. Then they created some species and they wanted to create man, and they created some maybe other kind that were not man, and some of those escaped and killed many of them. Then the government of the planet say, if you want to do this experiment, go and do it elsewhere. You cannot do it here anymore. Find yourself another planet that fits life, and then go and do your experiment. This is what they did. Over 25,000 years ago, they came to our planet, and they started creating all lives on Earth.
So are we an experiment, or
Absolutely.
were we created?
Absolutely.
So what are they trying to
Jonathan.
what are they trying to figure out?
Absolutely, Jonathan. We are an experiment because they created life not only on our planet, but on other planets as well. Some survived, some didn't. And after, when they saw that it was a flop, our creation, because already the sons of Adam, Cain and Abel, they kill each other. They kill one killed the other one. And then they saw how people behave, and the government of their planet say, you cannot, this is not a good creation. We need to destroy the whole creation. Then they send the flood. When they sent the flood, they destroyed all life on earth, besides Noah and his family and all. I can explain a little bit more than what it was. An ark, which was not an ark at all. It was a spaceship that they took Noah above earth, and it's written in the Bible, Vetaram hateva me'al haaretz. It means the box went above earth and not on, it was not floating on the water or above the water, it was above earth. And very simple. Today, if we understand and if you think a little bit further, there is no ship, there is no vessel that can contain so many animals, 2 from each species, and according to the Bible, 7 of some species, with a food, with all it needs all together. So what the Elohim did, they preserve life on a small box with cells. And with cells, they were able to reproduce all lives, all animals, and all flowers and all species they have created on planet Earth already. After the flood, Noah came down, and at the same time, the Elohim received another message from they received, I think it was like a computer or something, that landed on their planet saying, we are your creators, we're approaching too much the sun, and probably we will disappear. Now, we have created you, and we have been created by other extraterrestrial civilization because the universe is infinite. You have created life, and you need to let them progress until they will understand. Don't destroy them, don't hurt them, because life is a chain of creation through the universe. It means that one day we will be able to create life, go to another planet, create life there. At the beginning, they're going to think we are gods because of the difference of civilization. And then one day they will understand. This is the message the Elohim received from the ones that created them.
So when you say experiment, I mean, it's not like they're trying to figure out data or information or use us as like a test case study. It's more they create us because they were created, and so we should go and do the
No,
same.
they were not aware they were created, Jonathan. They were not even aware at that time. They start creating life like we today are trying to create new cells out of nothing, out of some DNA. And one day we will create men to our image, after our likeness. That day, people will understand that if a man or a woman can create in a laboratory another man or a woman, the mystery of God is over, because there is no place between the creator and the one that have been created. There was no God there. Then they understood that. And then when they receive this message from their creators, then they say, wow. So we have been created, they have been created. The ones that we created are going to create, and this is a chain of creation through the universe that is infinite. There is no beginning and no end. And this is what our symbol means. The two triangles, which represent the Star of David, which that is the symbol of the Elohim, with the swastika inside, which is infinity in space and infinity in time. What is infinity in space? The two triangles represent the infinity small and infinity large. It means we are human beings. We are living on planet Earth. Planet Earth is on a solar system. Our solar system is on a galaxy. The galaxy is on a universe, infinite universe, that is an atom of a molecule of something alive that we are discovering. It is a flower similar to a rose.
So that's interesting, the infinite side of things. But I think what I'm really trying to ask is, I mean, a traditional kind of common religious narrative is a God who is love itself creates out of the overflow of his love humanity and gives them the purpose to love each other and to love the divine. And so our kind of calling is to love God and love people. We have a purpose. But it sounds like what you're describing here is we weren't made with a purpose. We were made as an experiment. Like what's the purpose?
Exactly.
Okay. So we don't have
First
some
of
sort of
all-
higher calling.
First of all, Jonathan, there is no God. There is no God. These people who created that are not gods, are our fathers from space. They're our fathers from space. They're our creators. There is no God. Our primitive ancestors who had no science, no technology, took them for gods. It's like, if we go to a certain place, maybe not today, but if we go to a certain place, either in Africa, in South Asia, or somewhere, and people have never seen an airplane or people coming from the skies, they think that we are gods as well. And this is what will happen when we will create man as well.
So it sounds like, would you say there's not an inherent meaning of life or a purpose that we're called to fulfill? It's just sort
Absolutely.
of you're free to do whatever you want, and morality and meaning are kind of constructs.
The recommendation of the Elohim is to love each other, and that's on the 10 Commandments. You shall not kill, you shall not steal, love your neighbor like your own. And this is something that humanity today have lost that aim, unfortunately. And this is why we do Meditations for Peace. We are one of the most pacifist movements worldwide, because this creator, our creators, the Elohim, who are an extraterrestrial civilization, their goal in life is love, because everything is made out of love. I mean, nothing to do with sex. We're talking about pure love. And love is all we need. like John Lennon's song. Love is all we need to avoid war, to avoid everything that we have around, to respect each human being as our own, because we are all one. Let's say, we are each human being, it's a cell of this huge body that composes humanity. And when I see wars worldwide and things how they're going today, it's like if we are, each of us is a cell of this huge body that composes humanity, it means the cell from my finger will be shooting at the cell of my leg. So what is this for? Until we don't understand, we are one, and the entire humanity is like a single being, we will not stop.
Can I ask
And
as a
that's,
follow-up?
unfortunately, this is our goal also in the Raelian movement, to make people aware of this love, of this fraternity, of this humanity.
Can I ask then, is this a completely sort of this world based religion then? Is there any sense of an afterlife or anything beyond?
Maybe I'm going to disappoint many people, but there is no God and there is no soul, according to the message the Elohim gave to Rael, and it's all in this book. And as I say, people can download it for free and have and read it, and they like it, fine. They don't like it, fine. It didn't cost them a penny. What I am saying is that, the minute we understand we have been all created equal, the minute we will understand that we shall love each other because we are one with the entire humanity and with the entire universe, no matter what race we are, it will be the end of all religions, because it will be only one religion, love.
It's really interesting because, I mean, the extraterrestrials that created us, it's not like they invented love and then told us to do it. Love is something
No.
that's broader than them and broader than whoever created them and broader than whoever created them. So, I mean, you're describing this everlasting thing called love itself. I mean, that sounds very religious to me. I don't think a scientific materialist would actually accept that there's a thing that lasts forever that's called love. I mean, to me, you're already saying something very religious and not materialistic. Does that make sense?
Exactly, Jonathan. It's a very, very good point that you're coming out with, because if there is love, and it's the only thing that today can save humanity. Only love can save humanity. Because without love, we have 50% chance to auto-destroy ourselves with all the atomic bombs around. Now, it's very stupid to have all these budgets for weapons, to create conflicts and sell weapons to make money with it and sacrifice people for a piece of land, for business, for money. Because, we have reached a time that with artificial intelligence, everything will be solved. We will have robots that will be working for us. It means a human being will be free to enjoy life. What happened today is that we became slaves of debts, because at the time of our parents or grandparents, there were no credit cards. There were not loans to buy a car or a house. The ones who had money, they could afford it, they pay for it. Today, people work just to pay their loans. It's a sort of slavery that we impose ourselves to have and not to be.
I think we definitely agree that at the heart of all of this is love. I think in terms of ethics and practical side of things, I mean, you're preaching to the choir about love. I guess my question is, I think what you're saying is religion's always been trying to find its creator, but now like we have an extraterrestrial source. So we've answered that question. We don't need religion for that. But what I'm saying is that if love is broader than the extraterrestrials, if it existed before they were created and before whoever created them and before whoever created the people who created them, then that's a sense that there must be a higher source than just the extraterrestrials. That leaves a remainder of something broader than the extraterrestrials that needs to be explained. A source not just who created us, but who is love and goodness itself, and who is everlasting in a way that extraterrestrials are not. Something that existed before this species or that species or this alien, like a source who is always and forever love itself. I mean, that seems to smuggle God back into it. Maybe not the theistic God, but an infinite source of love and goodness and beauty itself that's broader than a specific alien species. That feels like you're smuggling God back in there, doesn't it, a little bit? Does that make sense?
Jonathan,
I love it when you say my name. It's great. Yeah. Thank you. It makes me feel spoken to.
The infinite universe is love. And we cannot have any contact with other civilizations if we don't reach a certain level of being more harmonious and pacifist. Because if we don't reach that level, the laws of the universe are that we will auto-destroy ourselves. The entire universe is made with love. And it was not created. Let me explain something. As I explained to you, we are living on a planet. This planet is on a solar system. This solar system is on a universe, is on a galaxy. This galaxy is on the universe. And this universe is an atom of a molecule that's something that is alive. And it was discovered recently that it have the shape of a rose. Now, what happened inside ourselves? One atom of one molecule inside one of our cells is an entire universe where there are galaxies, solar systems, and planets. And on these planets that we have inside ourselves, these are the infinity small. And inside of them, there is on other universes and other lives. Maybe for us, the time that we breathe, it's 100 years or more for them. The time that we breathe, it's maybe for that infinite universe or that something that is alive, it's a tiny second.
I think we'd actually be willing to concede the possibility of all. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like, I think we're trying to ask questions that go even deeper. Like, I think the type of question I'm asking would still be a question, even if everything you're saying about all the layers of an infinite universe were true, right? Like, the fact that I'm created by my parents doesn't make me stop asking if there's a God. And the fact that I then know who created my parents, my grandparents, doesn't make me go, oh, that explains it. I don't need God anymore. I've got my parents. Because I think what I was trying to ask is, if this love isn't just made by someone else up the chain, but it's not just a social construct of the aliens that they told us to do. It's something higher than them and something higher than whoever created them. You're talking about a thing that is love itself, and you're saying that's the universe. And I guess we could also ask, if we're an intelligence that was created by an intelligence that was created by an intelligence, what is intelligence itself? Because intelligence isn't just something that comes from the extraterrestrials. It's broader than that. Intelligence exists before this extraterrestrial or that extraterrestrial in the chain. It exists forever. And so you're describing an everlasting source of intelligence and love and goodness. I mean, this sounds pretty much like religion. Like, we could concede everything you're saying, but you're still affirming a divine source at the heart of all things that's higher than the aliens or this alien or that alien in the chain. something that's at the foundation of the whole chain itself. Does that make sense? So like I could concede everything you're saying and still have a real question here about what's at the heart of the infinite chain. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. But first of all, let me ask you a question. You have been brought up in a religion?
I became religious when I was in high school.
What religion? Catholic? Protestant?
Christian, Protestant, vaguely, yes.
Great, great. If your parents would have been Jews or Muslim, will you be Christian?
Probably not, but if I'd grown up in a non-scientific era, I wouldn't believe in science either.
Okay. This is what exactly happened. People are born into a family that was Jewish, like myself, or Christian, or Muslim, and they follow what their parents teach them. You need to go to the synagogue, so you go with your parents to the synagogue. You need to go to church, you go with your parents to church. And then they put you in your mind something you haven't choose yourself. It was like imposed to us to follow their beliefs. But their beliefs, until this day of the day of revelation, this is the day of revelation, December 13, 1973, was the day of the revelation when the Elohim gave this message to Rael, and everything was revealed since that day, which means that we had believed what we have been taught, not what we decided to believe. Not what we decided to, because we understood. It was not our choice. It was imposed to us by our parents because of their religion. Us Raelians, they don't impose on our children to be Raelians. Not at all. It is recommended by the Elohim even to read all the Bibles, the Second Testament, the New Testament, the Quran, all the religions. And then they will choose if they find something. That's all. But we don't impose, because it's a freedom of choice to leave a child until they could understand, to choose what they want.
Most of my family isn't religious. And so like in a lot of ways it was my choice, I guess. And I feel like the questions I'm asking here aren't based on doctrine. I'm asking a philosophical, logical question about what's at the heart of infinity, right?
The infinity.
So I'm not questioning what you're saying by appealing to the Bible. I'm asking a rational question about where's this source at a higher level of intelligence, morality, and love. And
if there's an infinite universe of love, why? Why is there an infinite universe of love?
Well, there is an infinite, because everything was created through the universe with love. It's a chain of creation. Do you understand? It's for me, it's easy to understand, even if I came from a religious, traditional Jewish family. It was very easy to understand that the word in Hebrew, Ein Sof, which means there is no end in Hebrew, to talk about the infinity, there is no end and there is no beginning. So there is no God in the middle of that. There is no God who have created everything in 6 days and the 7th day he relaxed. That was all wrong. It was something that was invented.
But what I'm saying is that even in infinity, there's something that you're putting forward that is the same and constant through all of that infinite process, a source of love and intelligence that isn't just one in a chain. It's not like
Jonathan, more love than intelligence, because if you don't reach a certain level of happiness, if you don't reach a certain level of consciousness, if you don't reach a certain level of harmony, if you don't reach a more pacific way to treat a human being like yourself, like to love your neighbor like your own, we will auto-destroy ourselves. And these are the laws of the universe according to the messages Rael received. The laws of the universe are that if you are not able to control yourself, to destroy all violence, we will not reach a certain level that we can communicate with these other civilizations that are outer space, because there are billions of them. Not necessarily like us, but there are billions of other human lives out there. They look like maybe like spiders. They look maybe like worms. They have maybe 14 eyes on their forehead. I don't know. I'm talking about the message that Rael received from the Elohim, who created us to their image and likeness. And now, to understand this message, as I say, please read this book. It's free and it's for you. So it's a message for humanity. It's not, we're not making money with it. It's not, I mean, you read it, but after you read it, just ask yourself a simple question. What if this is the truth? And we have been misled by religions, by governments, and all that. Let me ask you a question, Jonathan. How come all governments today want to forbid human cloning? For what reason?
Depends on the government, but I guess there's a lot of ethical questions once there's two of a person. Once someone's been made in an artificial way about identity and purpose and meaning. I'm sure those questions might not arise in your worldview because all of us were created by other creatures. But
not necessary. Not necessarily. They are forbidding human cloning in most of the countries, or in all countries, for one single reason. Because the day one man or a woman will be created, the mystery of God, it's over. There is no more place for God if someone in laboratory create another human being. Do you agree with that?
I definitely don't. And I think this comes back to the source of my questions before, is I think you're imagining the creator as just whatever is before us in the
Science.
the causal
Science
change.
is our religion.
Yeah, and I guess what the question that we're asking is there not just another creator within the universe, but a creator of the universe itself, a timeless source of love and intelligence? So I think in a lot of ways, I keep pushing back and saying almost everything you're saying could be true. Even aliens could have created us, but I don't know if the religious question would actually be answered there, because it's a broader question. Just as I said, just the fact that I know that my parents created me doesn't suddenly mean that I don't have broader questions about eternity, morality, love. If that makes sense. Like I actually,
Of course
I
it
would be
makes
totally,
sense.
I'm totally open to the idea that aliens created us. I don't actually think that would change my religious beliefs that much at all, really.
No, but I mean, the difference between you and me is that I was a believer like you, and I was always with this, which is the original Hebrew Bible in Hebrew. And this is being the original Hebrew Bible, this is the source of all religion that came after Judaism, right? This is the Old Testament, right? The original Hebrew book. Now, that book don't talk about a God, talk about Elohim in plural, those who came from the skies. Now, you're asking me, okay, love who created, there is no supernatural being that created the whole universe and all the planets and all lives. That the understanding that we receive from our parents, from our grandparents, from our priests, from our rabbis, from the religion. That's all. If we were brought without any religion, we will not believe in any God.
I mean, sorry, go ahead, Seth.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm a little questioning how you know that. In the same way, like nobody knew about other galaxies until it was discovered. So just the fact that no one would have believed in God doesn't mean that there is no God. Because I mean, even if there is an infinite universe that goes back forever, that's infinite in space and time. I mean, if I had an infinite bunch of cars, each one pulling the one behind it, that would explain why every car is moving. But I could still stand there and go, why is there a train here at all? Why is there an infinite train here? And so the fact that we do live in an infinite universe, I can still ask, why is there an infinite universe here rather than nothing at all, or a universe that it doesn't have love, or it's just a giant void? There's still, I think, some interesting questions here.
Yes, because everything, without the universe, we wouldn't have existed. There would be no planets, there was no galaxies, there is no universe, there will not be solar system. That everything, as I mentioned already, one atom of one of ourselves is an infinite universe itself. Other the one that is in our infinity small, that we are in the infinity large, and we are all one with all that. This is the humanity, not only with humanity, but with all the planets, all the galaxies, all the universe that are inside us and outside ourselves. This is, listen, for me, I had questions since my childhood that never got the answer, as I mentioned. And when I read this book, it answered all my questions, because I'm coming from a religious family that I was circumcised, I got married religiously, I circumcised my son and was celebrating all the, until the day I realized that I was not wrong, because all I learned, it helped me today to understand and stop believing. And this is what we need to do. In order to love each other, in order to not be racist or against any religion, it's the human being. It's more important than all the books, than all the religions. Our religion is love and science, period. We don't need to pray. We don't need to pray. We don't need to go. We don't have churches. We meditate and we send love and peace to everyone in the planet. That's all. And we are willing to welcome these creators from space like they deserve, like our fathers from space. We need to welcome these people from space that will give us, that they will give us their scientific heritage, which is 25,000 years above ours. How can we understand 25,000 years in advance from us if we don't even know what kind of car your child will have or will be driving in 10 years from now? Another example, that at the time of my grandfather, we had no television. If he would have seen a television today or a smartphone where we can talk, or even now we are on a Zoom meeting or whatever, he wouldn't have believed that. If he would have seen a television, a primitive person would have gone either behind to see if someone is hiding, or he would have put his face on the floor, like many prophets did, to say, oh, maybe God is talking to me. It's a difference of civilization. This is our understanding today, is that we have to not to believe. You can believe in whatever you want. That's, I mean, it's each and everyone's problem. But today, our goal is to make people understand there is something else than believing. There is something else than killing each other, wars, some people that are starving, and some people that are dying, and some children that are working. to make money for big companies. Today, we need to be equal with each other. We need to love each other. We need to accept each other the way we are. This is humanity. Because when I see what's going on today worldwide, either Israel, other Palestinians, other Russians, other Ukrainians, worldwide, it's a mess. It's a mess. What kind of humanity are we? And if some people that are looking at our podcast today, they don't have to believe. They need to just understand and take the words that what kind of humanity are we living into today? Is it what Jesus said? Is it what Moses said? Is it what other prophets says? To love each other like your own? Where are we? In a jungle?
I guess a lot of this kind of comes down to revelation, the revelation that was given to Rael, and how that is actually very distinct from revelation, say, from Baha'u'llah and the Baha'i faith, or Muhammad and the Quran, Christ. So I guess my question then comes to you, that when you were going through, thinking through what faith, what truth is, when you read that book, Intelligent Design by Rael, what stuck out to you that you said, this is true, as opposed to say other claims about divine figures and such?
Very good question, Seth, and I love that question, because when someone introduced me to this book, Intelligent Design, it was called in French, the book which tells the truth. And as a Jew, I say, who's going to tell me what's the truth? I know from the Bible. I was narrow-minded and didn't want even to open the book and read it. Then I saw a videotape that started answering my question with the same message. Now, what decided me to become Raelian and to understand this message is that as a Jew, I want confirmation of this book. After I read the book, as I mentioned before, I stay 2 weeks at home. I closed my company. I had a clothing company. My wife was going to see the clients, and I was staying home. I stay for 2 weeks home with the Intelligent Design book, with the original Hebrew Bible, with the dictionary, Hebrew and French dictionary, because it was easy for me, and search word by word, sentence by sentence, until I came to the conclusion the message that was given to Rael was the truth about our origins. And this is what the original Hebrew Bible, which is Bereshit, which is the Tanakh, is talking about. It, without any doubt, the original Hebrew Bible never mentioned there was a God. Never, ever. And I can prove it to anyone, any rabbi, any priest, anyone you want. Very simple. I have the proof of what I'm saying. And this is why sometimes when I do my lectures, they prefer to come. I'm talking about religious Jewish people. They prefer to come to avoid people that will enter our hall with vases, or to demonstrate in front of our hall that people will not listen to what we have to do. Why they do that? I always ask the rabbis, I invite them and tell them, why don't you come to my lectures and make me feel stupid? Why don't you make me feel ridiculous in front of everyone? Bring something and prove the opposite of what I'm saying. Because I bring original texts that confirm exactly the message Rael received from the extraterrestrial called Elohim.
Can I ask, I've seen in some of your resources that there's this argument that Elohim is plural. So it's not, the one monotheistic God.
Absolutely.
It's a civilization of beings. And then there's also this claim that who come from the sky. And so that doesn't need to mean
Absolutely.
God. It could mean extraterrestrials. I guess my question is there something about the Hebrew that proves they must be extraterrestrials? Or is it just that there's nothing in the Hebrew that disproves it? Because I guess the Elohim side of things, the Christian could just say, of course, Elohim's plural because the Trinity. Or even a Jewish person could say that's sort of like a plurality of majesty, or they could argue with you about the nitty gritty of the Hebrew. But I guess either of those interpretations could make sense of the text. It doesn't mean extraterrestrials have to be true. It just means, hey, maybe. And then when they come from the sky, I guess that's consistent with aliens, but it's also very consistent with ancient Near Eastern views around the gods as up in the clouds and the heavens. Like, is there something about the Hebrew that's not just, oh, maybe that's aliens, but you're like, no, that has to be aliens? Is there anything that's like, that
To be aliens.
has to be it? Okay.
It's a must that they are aliens and not a single God, and not gods either. And it is written in the original Hebrew Bible. I have the text. I bring
what text?
All my lectures.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for, is the text. I'd love to, like, what text would you say prove it? Don't just so it's possible, but prove it.
Of course, I have many texts in Hebrew. Do you understand Hebrew? I can show them to you.
I mean, we've taken Hebrew, but I don't think we understand Hebrew the way that you probably do as a native. So I don't want to get my butt kicked there. But I guess what
can you simplify for an audience, especially that doesn't know Hebrew? Is there like a nice little clincher argument?
Is there a
that you go
text
to?
that just has to be aliens in the Hebrew?
Jonathan and Seth, I will really love if you can find a rabbi or a Jewish scholar that you can arrange a podcast with me, and I will prove it to him that there is no God. The original Hebrew Bible doesn't mention one single time that there is a God. One single time. They talk about the Elohim, and the Elohim, in the different centers, they call themselves, it's plural, they're coming from the skies, they arrive from another planet. I have all the Hebrew text.
Where's the other planet part? Because the first two parts are consistent with God, even if they're not exclusive to God. But the other planet part, where's that in the Hebrew? Because that would seem to feel more like, okay, that's aliens.
Which verse is that? There are many planets.
I'm just asking which verse. Like, which verse are you thinking of where it says other planets? They came from other planets.
Oh, let me
specific verse.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to attack you here. I'm just trying to help figure out the argument.
It's my pleasure, Jonathan. Let me tell you here, if I can find it here, just a second. Okay. English. Okay, I'll tell you that in English. Let me see here. First of all, in Zechariah, let me see here. No, in Ezekiel, sorry. From 1 to 128, he described the landing of a UFO. Now, at the end of my lectures, I always, Isaiah 13.5, there come from a far country at the end of the skies, Yahweh, who is the most important of all the Elohim and not a God, and his element of fury. And if you want more examples, I will be more than pleased.
Yeah, is there one about another planet in specific? Like they came from the Zeta Reticuli?
Because the Ezekiel, Yeah.
In the Zohar, which is the Kabbalah, they talk about the planet Arka, which is probably their planet. I don't know. They didn't tell Rael what their planet name is. They didn't mention, because today, when we talk about the Elohim, some people, so many organizations are for UFOs. What is a UFO? UFO, it's maybe like a Toyota for them, or a Bentley or a Mercedes. What is a UFO? UFO, it's like an airplane. That's all. Some people are just focusing on UFOs. What's important for me is not the UFO. Who are those inside the UFO? Where are they coming from? What do they want from us? This is what the question that are the questions that we need to ask ourselves, not about the UFO that is made out of metal or out of plutonium, or who cares? It's a car, it's a transportation mode. That's all.
I think this, just getting back to the original question, like the Ezekiel passage is usually thought, I mean, it's a vision of 4 winged creatures with wheels and a brilliant, kind of fiery throne type thing coming down. And that's usually interpreted as sort of some heavenly messenger from God or angelic be like.
Yeah, it reflects a lot of Persian artwork at the time, which is the reflection of the deities. And what seems to be happening is Israel is portraying its God riding on vehicles that would have been associated with Persia, to sort of associate that as a sort of victory of the God Yahweh over the Persian deities.
And that doesn't prove that that could never possibly be extraterrestrials. I just don't know how you're pointing to that and saying that has to be extraterrestrials, because Jews at that time already had a cosmology to explain this. There's nothing in that requires aliens to explain it. So like we're not saying it's impossible that all of these religious encounters were actually extraterrestrials. It's an interesting question. We're saying, what about the texts that you're pointing to requires it to be extraterrestrials and not just what people have always thought?
Jonathan, it's not a possibility. It's the only possibility. Today, we're able to understand it's the only possibility. And this will be, very soon, it will be shown worldwide. And everybody, either they like it or not, they will have to face it. They will have to face the reality. Now, to show, like you say, Ezekiel say this or that, well, that's again a belief. If you look at it with open mind and with open eyes, it's a description of the landing of a spaceship. And there are many descriptions. We are coming from a far land, from the skies. Yahweh and his element of fury. I have so many citations. Yahweh is riding a fast cloud to go to Egypt. If Yahweh, for some people, is a single God, why does he need to ride a fast cloud to go to Egypt? Supposedly, a God is supposed to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. So is he immaterial? No, he's not immaterial. He's not. The people that have created us, they have a message for us. They want to make us understand. They want people to stop believing, because the beliefs and the religions are what is ruining the world today, have been the cause of all the wars. And our financial system today is the cause of all conflicts worldwide. People need to understand that if we stop wars, if we stop religions, and if we stop money, it will be a paradise. Everybody will live perfectly with the money, the budget of the army from any country. We can feed the entire humanity. It's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of love that people are still starving in other places in the world, and some others are living with billions and billions, and governments are living on our behalf. I mean, we are the prostitutes and they are the pimps. As simple as that.
Yeah,
What
I think
our
it's
taxes are for.
I don't want to. There's a few more questions that I think we have that I want to get to, but I don't think that just eliminating religions leads to peace, and especially because a lot of historians have been making some pretty substantial arguments that religion is actually pretty inconsequential in warfare at the end of the day. And that
93%
it's
of
often,
wars are non-religious.
yeah. So, and then I think also, like, I mean, even for the beings that they created on the other planet, you said some of the beings they created on their own planet killed them. My sense is that there's still conflict in the broader universe. You've just infinitized, you've made that conflict infinite. It's the same conflicts that are happening here. I feel like would happen everywhere. But let me pivot to the actual question, because I feel like we're there's something I really did want to get to here, which is that your movement is quite well known for being sex positive. Nudity, public nudity, free sex, like these types of things. Is sexuality simply a personal freedom, or does it have a deeper spiritual role? And how might that relate to how we welcome the Elohim? Is my question.
Sexuality, the freedom of sexuality, it's a matter of choice. It's not something imposed. And it's only sexuality, no matter what medias are trying to put on the label that they want to put on our forehead is that we are sexual maniacs, or we have sex with everyone, including children. All that is bullshit. It's the same they did in Spain when it was the expulsion of all the Jews in Spain, because they were claiming Jews were having sex with children and they were taking their blood to make the prayer on Saturday night, on Friday nights. Same thing happened in Germany. When you want to blame someone, you try to put sex, children, make them look like sexual maniacs. Sexuality among Raelians, it's freedom. Freedom among adults who want to, not impose to anyone. This is very clear, and this is why people are trying to discredit the way we are, because it's not convenient for them. If they put black blanket on us, it's just to cover up the truth. That's all. Because the message we bring, it's the one that will destroy the religions. It's the one that will end of religion. If people understand, they will stop believing.
It makes sense that, I mean, one of the ways that we would demonize other groups would be through accusations of pedophilia. Like, I concede that, and yet sometimes those groups actually do those things, right? So it's hard to just say that this is something people say to discredit doesn't necessarily actually mean it's false. And I guess my question is, there's the Order of Angels, right? Which is females within the movement who are preparing themselves to sexually welcome the Elohim. And there's
not sexually.
Is that
this
not
is
the belief?
This is a misinterpretation. The order of angels, first of all, it's only devoted to women and not an obligation for all Raelians to be angels. Those who want to join that order is to be at the service of the Elohim when they will come. That's all. But I mean, it doesn't mean for sex. They can cook for them. They can clean their place. They can clean the toilet. They can do whatever they want. Even if the Elohim don't need women to do that, because they have robots. But it's just to show our devotion to those people from space who created us and who love us like their children, and they ask to be respected and loved like our fathers from space. That's
So
all.
there's no sexuality at all involved in that?
I didn't say that. If they want to have sex with, listen, at the beginning of on the Bible, it is described the son of Elohim had sex with woman of the earth, and this is where most of the prophets came.
Is there an
What
equivalent
happened?
order? Is there an equivalent order for men, or is there only this type of order
No,
for women?
no, no, no. The aim also of the angels is to help men become more feminine in their way, not to be brutal, to have good manners, like to be more kind. You know what, Japanese people, when we give something to someone in our continents or Occidental, we give it like that. We just handle something. In Japan, when people handle you something, they handle you like that, and they bend. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's the closest way of respect, and it's very tiny compared to the one of the Elohim. It's a femininity, it's kindness, it's respect, it's love, it's all that. In Japan, when there was a pandemic, people took the food they needed, that it would be food for other people behind them. Here at Costco or some other places, people were punching each other for toilet paper. In what world we're living? Let's take example of what love should be for humanity. And this is all in the message that the Elohim gave us, how to respect each other, how to care for each other, how to share with each other. And they didn't invent love. They're giving us the way to live. If we want to progress, if we want to if we don't want to auto-destroy ourselves, that's a way. No, take it or leave it. I mean, that's the way it is. We're not, the Raelians are not here to convince no one or to impose their beliefs in no one. We are here to convey a message, to make people understand. They want to understand, fine. They don't want. That's their problem. Me, I'm over 40 years now that I become Raelian. And I'm coming from a very traditional Jewish religious family. And that's, so many things I have went through, either in Israel, where I lived for 18 years, to be spit by people around, to be death threats in Montreal. I mean, I have been giving lectures in Miami, in New York, in Switzerland, in Holland, in Antwerpen, in Belgium, everywhere. In Paris, they wanted to beat me up in Paris. The people that came, and they don't want to accept that. They don't want to accept. But that's, if they don't want to accept it because there is something true they want to hide. And I'm talking to you about rabbis. How come a rabbi that it's written, love your neighbor like your own, or you shall not kill, they come to my lecture in Paris with knives, with sticks, with like these bombs that make you cry, with pepper. What kind of people are we? I mean, it's freedom of speech. I'm not imposing my belief on anyone, but it's a freedom of speech. Take it or leave it. That's the way it is. I'm here to convey a message that is from the Elohim, and it's here. That's all. And it's free. Read it. You want to read it, fine. You don't want to read it, fine. I mean,
On that note, we're running up on time. Where can they find that book? What's the website?
you go on www.rael.org, and you can download this book in any language you want, because they're translated. It is translated in all languages worldwide. And after you read it, there is only one question you need to ask yourself. Just one, there is not many. What if it's the truth?
All right, audience, you heard that. What if it's the truth? And so Rael's still alive, right? He lives in Japan.
Absolutely.
As just kind of a closing note, I know part of the goal was to build an embassy to welcome the extraterrestrials. As a closing note, do you think it'll get done before he dies?
Oh, definitely. The extraterrestrial, according to the message he got from the Elohim, I hope he will be with us before he joined them there on another planet, because they have the possibility to recreate human beings who have done good for humanity and all the prophets on another planet. And I mean, I hope he will be with us to welcome the Elohim, and then they will take him back with him without that he doesn't need to die. They took Elijah the prophet, they took Moses, because if they never found his grave, it's because they took him with them. Like Hanok as well. You know, and many others. I mean, Jesus was their messenger. He didn't come to make another religion, Jesus. He was a Jew. He was a Jew, and he died as a Jew. The cross was not made for Christians. It was a torture thing that, you know, a torture stick that they tied him up. That's all.
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you being willing you guys reaching out for the interview, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much.
Jonathan. Thank you, Seth.